My coworker is the boogeyman of the department. Nothing has ever made me want to leave a job faster than a bully that a boss refuses to rein in. Mostly, I think my boss is great. Super friendly, generous with the time off, very supportive of change etc., but his assistant may have an untreated personality disorder. She tells me it's a violation of company policy to use your work computer to look up a phone number for personal reasons and then use to office to call it and make a DR's appoint. It's a violation to scan some documents so you can email them to your insurer. It's a violation to allow anyone to use the plastic forks in the break room because that's personal use. OMG. And she is super nasty about it. And she will ask me for something and be completely dismissive when I tell how I will provide it. Why do supervisor allow this shit instead of doing their jobs and taking care of it? I come here to appreciate the job I have. Wow, the more I read here, the more I appreciate how rare the company I work for is. Example. An employee's significant other, not spouse, it was BF/GF situation, passed away recently. Our company gave this person the option of up to 5 days out of the office, paid. They were not even technically related to the deceased. The rest of us have pulled together to cover what aspects of the position cannot wait until next week. Even with some minor computer problems on top of everything else, we are getting it done. When a company treats you well, it is not hard to want to work hard for that company in return. The company is small, but it respects its employees like human beings, and pays living wages. There are good ones out there, but they are few and far between. I believe that everyone in retail should work weekends. And I'm not being provided with any benefits as a part-time employee. So that just sounds like weekends off to me. Thumbs up. They want us to volunteer to do the housekeeping. The company I work for started implementing Lean/5S/continuous improvement about a year ago. Since then we've had a lot of changes. Recently, within the last couple of months, tons of people have quit. The company has made zero effort to hire people to replace the people that have left and instead have started cross-training people so that we can do the work of other departments since we're short-staffed. When the mention of raises was brought up, since we're doing more work, they said that they're going through tough times right now. I overheard my coworker on the phone with another coworker saying that the owners want to retire and just collect checks, which is fine, but that they need to leave someone better in charge. BC, the current director of operations, is gonna run it into the ground. Under the current director, he got rid of our paid holidays, until further notice, and the whole cross-training was his idea too. He implemented Employee of the Month thing too, where the employee would get a reserved parking spot and a $25 gift card. No bonus or anything. I guess it's to show like, oh, we appreciate y'all, but it just feels like a joke. They took away other perks, but I don't want to get too specific. When I started it wasn't like this. There wasn't a huge pressure on keeping our numbers up, and now we have less people. There's a certain tension in the air, and I know that others aren't happy with the changes. I'm sure there are more things I'm not aware of. But yesterday they told us that we don't have housekeeping anymore and that we should all volunteer to do specific housekeeping chores around the office, like cleaning the bathroom and stocking and taking the trash out. So basically they got rid of a whole job and want us to volunteer to do these things? Yikes. I used to fairly like this job, but now I'm just like, oh great, what are they gonna take from us this time? Lunch and this corporate work culture is bullshit. So 2 things. I was hired at my bank's call center and was told that after training was done, in person, I would be able to go home. Now, 6 weeks later I have found out that I'm required to stay in this fucking office for another week cause of some tech bullshit. So basically, now I have to not only come in an hour earlier, but I can't take a shorter lunch, so now I have to linger around here for an extra hour and I only leave 30 minutes earlier than I did when I was training. This company is a fucking joke, lunches are a fucking joke, this commute is a joke, and generally speaking, this work culture is joke. If I were to say I'm gonna do something at work and didn't do it, I'd get in trouble, but if a company does that, I have to suck it up? Fucking joke. Oh, and apparently we have the option to stay in office, but this September, we have to return to the office without the option to be home. What is it with corporations and this ridiculous level of control? I don't know how people deal with this shit for decades. At this point I'm just gonna milk my job and move out of this country once I save up. I'm over American work culture and this disgusting fetish for the office. I have a dilemma and need advice. To make a long story short, I am currently in the process of quitting my job, so to the immense stress, anxiety, and emotional distress I have been suffering the last year. I'm not the only one, by the way. 2 of my good partners/friends are experiencing the same and contemplating quitting. Here are the list of things that have happened. Owner/boss always belittles the guys whenever there is a complaint by saying things like, "Does your pussy hurt? Pick up your pussy off the floor," etc. We are all guys. Refuses to hire females in the office as to not distract the guys. Missed paying me, and HR refused to give me paper check when I asked for one, so I received direct deposit a day late. HR also happens to co-own the business. Has put immense pressure of tasks to be completed without raises, and questioning begins when you can't compete your job, which none of us can. Owner began talking to other employees about my performance, stating that it looks like I've been drinking more, which I haven't. I rarely drink. Even though I haven't received a single write-up in the 5 years I've been there, I found out he wants to fire me. Why? I don't know, no one has talked to me about the reasons. I got into a major accident, no my fault, was in a neck brace, bruised and sore, and he personally called me, told me to get up and go take a drug test, which I did, came back negative obviously. He also continuously tells us that we are not allowed to discuss our wages and that we can be reprimanded. I am in CA. Any advice? I just got a talking to for a 6-minute bathroom break. I work from home and am working for a call center for a big company as a contract worker since earlier this year. If you've ever worked for a call center environment, you know that the big push is on adherence and availability. I've been consistently hitting the metrics for the past 3 months and have gotten more than a few kudos from my direct boss. Within that same time frame, we've had meetings about being prudent with being unavailable during hours that you are scheduled to be on the phone. Always in a group setting, never fully directed at me. Yesterday, nature called, and I had to get off the phone for 6 minutes during a 3-hour chunk of time where I was supposed to be on the phone. Today my manager spoke to me and told me this was unacceptable of me, as I was creating a pattern of not being available during work time. He then told me that breaks and lunches are allocated for restroom time, which I get, but I don't always run on that schedule when I have to piss. He communicated to me that it would make sense to him if I had some sort of medical condition, but doesn't make sense otherwise. He told me to go through my staffing agency, which I was hired through, in order to set up an arrangement for maybe getting an extra break. Not really my goal, I just want to be able to piss when I have to piss and not have a conversation afterwards. Really need this job, otherwise I'd leave. Not sure what kind of options I have anyway, since I'm technically still a contract worker. Edit, I've gotten a few replies about going to HR, or even looking up local laws. Unfortunately, a lot of legal recourse is limited due to the state I'm in, Arizona, and the fact that I'm a contract worker. Anyway, small update, I spoke with the HR for my staffing agency, and they let me know that the company I'm working for would not accept a doctor's note after all, and would not accept an ADA request, they called it. They basically said adhere to the schedule, or quit. I'm so incredibly frustrated and I really need this job, otherwise I would absolutely quit. I'm in the process of looking for other jobs, but I can't be without income, so I'm stuck for the moment. The one time I automated a gas station. So years ago I took over managing a gas station for an investment group looking to see if they should purchase and develop the location, BP. When I came in, the employees were all meth heads. I fired 30 people in 3 months, crew of 12, using write-ups for things like being late, feet on counter, drug use and theft. Got rid of the meth head and alcoholics and a few spoiled kids, and hired smart immigrant Muslim and Sikh workers and a couple locals who were qualified. They were better employees, more educated, and took things seriously. Cs actually include work in their worship. By culminating a new work culture in the store, the locals were the minority and increased their efficiency as well. I gave them all respect, gave them control of some assistant manager LVL tasks. The shift leads felt it was their store and they kept things in line for me. I allowed them to attend their kids' events, and even listen to their music except when corporate inspections came, which they all passed flawlessly. Picked an assistant manager from the best of them, trained him in all my managerial work that required me to be there. Told the story I was taking care of several stores. They never questioned my absence but grew to respect the responsibility I trusted them with. I installed TeamViewer on the computer so I could control the store from home and reply from home and set gas prices. We increased sales by 712% in 16 months. I was at home 95% of the time. Our headquarters were in Texas. This was in the PNW. So I only had to be there when they visited or for certain inspections. Conclusion. Store did so well. BP completed the purchase and developed it into a huge store. They were frustrated on having to train a new manager and offered me a full-time gig. I don't do that. I told them I had trained a manager for them who is intimate with the store. They were blown away, even gave me a bonus. That assistant manager became the manager and used my tactics minus the being at home all the time. He is now running 3 stores as a GP in the PNW and his kids go to private school. He has a picture of me in all 3 offices. That's the end. Cs and immigrants are worth it. They work hard and are honest. Just give them respect and fight for their wages and they will carry the world for you as you rise together. Not getting paid enough. I work at Burger King making $14/HR. How do they expect me to live off of this when every apartment near here wants $1,800 plus a month for rent? I can't get another job because I don't have many skills. It's like the managers don't understand how hard it is to run frozen patties through the broiler. I deserve at least $25/HR for how many Whoppers I make in a day. I feel like giving up. This is all I can do. Victoria's Secret layoffs, yet again. I'm one of the 160 layoffs at VSHQ. I have roughly 9 years with the brand as a contractor/freelancer as well as being full-time associate status. To be crystal clear, they treated me okay from a financial standpoint. I made good money. Final salary was $120K plus bonus as a 33-year-old manager with no direct reports. Took 10 years to get there though. I got to travel a lot. Even with my wife sometimes on their dime. Europe a bunch, Asia, Canada, 20 states. Private jets. I've sat in countless meetings with Leigh Wexner. Gone to a fashion show. All of it. What I never got, was a raise while I worked there, outside the sub 3% cost of living increase. I was blinded by money. 120K is pretty good in my book. Somewhat decent benefits. WFH. Discounts. 3% 401k match. Etc. Not bad. What sucks is, I saw how shitty this brand is. How they treat associates. How they treat their store employees. How their former CMO was scum. Their CFO had affairs left and right. How Leigh treated those close to him. How models were treated. Epstein, and I continued to be loyal. Because they promised change. So many times. We're different. We've evolving. We're being better. Blah fuckety blah. Nothing changes. It's all still old white men running this brand. That promises to be for the women of the world. They don't give a fuck. Lay off 160 people to save 30 mil, but give bonuses to execs for saving money. They do this every couple of years. They did it in fall of 2022. And again a few years before. Etc. Their leadership is a joke. They are in over their heads. The new store design is terrible and very cheap. I was told a story about a store opening in Chicago. The VS head of stores was about to do a ribbon-cutting ceremony for a new store. Right before she jokingly said we should leave this ribbon up, that way we can ask for credit scores before we let customers in. Ha 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 ha. Senior management joking about customer credit scores, Wild. And pretty fucking disturbing. Also, my boss, who is an AVP, was too much of a pussy to be on the video call when I was laid off. Looking forward to this brand crashing and burning. It's only a matter of time. Anyway, just wanted to get that off my chest. I have much more, but all of this is fresh in my mind. I'm one of the 160 layoffs at VSHQ. I have roughly 9 years with the brand as a contractor/freelancer, as well as being full-time associate status. To be crystal clear, they treated me well. I made good money. Final salary was $120K plus bonus as a 33-year-old manager with no direct reports. I got to travel a lot. Even with my wife sometimes on their dime. Europe a bunch, Asia, Canada, 20 states. Private jets. I've sat in countless meetings with Leigh Wexner. Gone to a fashion show. All of it. I was blinded by money. 120K is pretty good in my book. Somewhat decent benefits. WFH. Discounts. 3% 401k match. Etc. Not bad. What sucks is, I saw how shitty this brand is. How they treat associates. How they treat their store employees. How their former CMO was scum. Their CFO had affairs left and right. How Leigh treated those close to him. How models were treated. Epstein, and I continued to be loyal. Because they promised change. So many times. We're different. We're evolving. We're being better. Blah fuckety blah. Nothing changes. It's all still old white men running this brand. That promises to be for the women of the world. They don't give a fuck. Lay off 160 people to save 30 mil, but give bonuses to execs for saving money. They do this every couple of years. They did it in fall of 2022. And again a few years before. Etc. Their leadership is a joke. They are in over their heads. The new store design is terrible and very cheap. I was told a story about a store opening in Chicago. The VS head of stores was about to do a ribbon-cutting ceremony for a new store. Right before she jokingly said we should leave this ribbon up, that way we can ask for credit scores before we let customers in. Ha 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 ha. Senior management joking about customer credit scores, wild. And pretty fucking disturbing. Also, my boss, who is an AVP, was too much of a pussy to be on the video call when I was laid off. Looking forward to this brand crashing and burning. It's only a matter of time. Anyway, just wanted to get that off my chest. I have much more, but all of this is fresh in my mind.